What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the Impact Gaming Center stream, or the channel if you're watching after the fact on YouTube. It is Lincoln and Matt in the booth tonight.
What's up, everybody? Good to be here with you, Lincoln.
Absolutely. We have swapped out with Alex, did a little tag out there, and you'll notice that Kevin is not here, and that is because Kevin did not win his first round match. So as a result, we are going to see Kevin in round 3. But yeah, that is going to be how that is going. So these two gentlemen are 1-0. Mason is on. Oh, I'm going to need to update that. That says that they're still 0-0. Let me fix that for you guys. Now, Mason is on 4-color creativity, while Johnny is playing Zoo. Good old domain Zoo. And Johnny's been really liking this list. But before we get too far into it, we're going to do our shout outs real quick. First, thank you guys for spending any amount of time with us. I know how valuable time is, and even if you just have us on in the background while you work, or if you're actively paying attention, we just appreciate you so much making us any part of your day. Otherwise, thank you for checking us out. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe, hit that bell so you don't miss any of our videos. We're making tons of content. We're putting out podcasts. We're doing all kinds of things. We're doing deck techs, lots of fun stuff and more to come. We are based out of the fabulous Fairview Heights, just outside of the greater St. Louis area. So come stop by and play. We do great turnouts for our FNMs. We've got a standard RCQ tomorrow. And check us out on Twitch if you're already here. Thank you so much. We would love to see a subscription. And with that, good old Witness, thank you so much for subscribing. We have a F in the chat for Kevin's loss, but that's okay. He'll rally.
That reads like excitement to me.
Witness, fill me in. Are you subbing in solidarity, or are we excited? What's your Kevin history?
It's a W. Yep. I knew it.
Matt,
I knew it.
Thank you, Matt, for checking me on that. So let me get the
Ooh, Johnny's got the ley line in hand.
Table mic going. So this is an ideal start. Assuming you guys are familiar with the decks, what Johnny wants to do here is just play big creatures, kind of cheat him out thanks to this ley line, and do really scary things, where Mason is playing this interesting kind of combo deck that you may not have seen. And really what it encourages is putting some kind of token on the board and then eating it with this card called Indomitable Creativity that basically just lets you go look through the deck for a creature artifact. And then the only real creatures you play are really scary creatures. So that's really what we're seeing here, a classic aggro versus combo type deck. So we'll see how this plays.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see Mason here playing this creativity deck. It's been a while since creativity has been a big part of the modern meta. It used to be a big player, but it's definitely fallen off since Modern Horizons 3, really. But you still get to play super powerful cards like Renin 6, which is tragically underplayed in the format right now. And it's doing some really sweet stuff. Like I haven't seen Mason's exact deck list, but I would expect that he's got some Archons that he will be trying to sneak into play with this creativity here in a couple of turns.
Yeah. Now, Johnny is stuck on one land. So Mason played out that Renin 6, plus did to go pick up that land that he fetched the Blood Crypt with, and then got put under a ley line by Johnny, who followed up with a Ragavan, but notably is stuck on one land. So this could be really bad news for Johnny. It's going to slow down his ability to pressure his opponent. Ragavan is a good card to have because it can create treasure tokens, which will let him cast something for 2. But I have to assume that if Mason just discarded the bolt, he's got some removal ready.
I see another bolt in his hand there.
Yeah, he's got to have some kind of removal for the monkey, and he does.
But yeah, Johnny's on a mulligan to 6 here, and so he kept the hand on the strength of Leyline, which I don't blame him for, but definitely a bit of a risky keep,
right.
And so far not panning out for him.
He had Leyline double monkey. He opts not to deploy the monkey here because he knows he might need to Stubborn Denial and Indomitable Creativity. Unbreakable Wit, it is, Kevin is playing Is It Wizards, kind of a classic Tameo plus Flame of Anor type list, but then he's playing Wan Shi Tong and Quantum Riddler with some Blood Moon, so very interesting. Yeah, Zoo is great at baiting people into bad hands. I think it's that ley line that really tricks people into thinking, yeah, I can make this one lander work.
Yeah, well, and it's a challenge of the deck too, is it doesn't mulligan extremely well because Leyline definitely gets a lot worse as you have fewer and fewer cards in hand because it's another card that's out of your hand immediately that's not really doing anything. Obviously, it makes your deck work, but it doesn't impact the board on its own. And so I get why Johnny kept the hand, but not working out for him here.
Green
So far.
Goblin Mask deck. Yeah, I gotta say, that's how Gifts Storm has been looking at me. That deck sits on my shelf, and I broke it out for a couple of weeks and really enjoyed it. I put it back on the shelf, but it does talk to me like that pretty consistently. So that's an accurate recounting of that. Now, here's a persist, and this is the other game plan that these creativity decks play is this reanimator, where they don't necessarily need to creativity into their archons. They play persist and faithless looting and other such discard spells to help them find them anyway. So Mason finds the archon, and Stubby D not going to do anything for Johnny here because persist just doesn't get caught by that. So he shored up against the indomitable creativity, and Mason, intentionally or not, ended up playing around it. So that really doesn't bode well for Johnny here. But Johnny did find land number 2, so let's see what can develop.
Yeah, given that Johnny already used his Leyline Binding on that Renin 6, doesn't look like he has another answer for this Archon rolled up, and this will very quickly take over the game.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the big problems with Domain is that even with the Leyline and the Scion, sacrificing creatures just kind of gets around that. So a Scion, as scary as it normally is, doesn't really bother Mason too much. So it's kind of, correct me if I'm wrong here, but it's kind of Leyline or bust here for Johnny.
Since this Archon was persisted back, Tribal Flames will also take care of it.
Good point. Well, there's the Scion as discussed.
And Ragavan.
Okay, so he can protect it from one turn of getting sacrificed. We're going to read up on Scion. Just try and remember the Questing Beast set of abilities that it offers. And then another. And then another. And yep, he's counting on his hand. There's going to be 5 of them, Mason. Keep going. You're at 3. There's 4. All right. We quit at 4.
Yeah, I think this game is going to be pretty tough for Johnny to take down, but now that he knows what he's playing against and will know what to look for in his hands, his opening hand, I think Zoo does have a lot of game in this matchup between Stubborn Denial and the fast clock it can present with cards like Territorial Kabu. This game though, gonna be pretty difficult.
Yeah,
I think
game 1 not looking good. Game 1 not looking good for Johnny. For Mason, on the other hand, looking extremely good. He's going to get a Dwarven Mine.
Oh, creativity for 2. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and I agree with that. You picked that one up. Yeah, sometimes that's how it goes. You win some, you lose some. So we'll get to go on to game 2.
Ooh, good question here from Grok. Does the creativity player play Obsessive Pursuit? So we don't have deck lists, but Lincoln, I don't know if can we pull up Obsessive Pursuit on the screen? That is the black enchantment from Avatar that makes a clue every turn. My guess is that's a little bit slow for what the creativity deck is trying to do, but I'm also not a creativity player, so I could be wrong.
Yep, I am getting that pulled up now. Obsessive Pursuit, and it might be a card that they're breaking out. Good point. Let me get that up on the screen. Sorry, I brought it up and then read it for myself.
Yeah, I played a lot of this card in Avatar Limited, and it looks like Grok there linked it in the chat on Scryfall. So
thank you for doing that as well, because my my Scryfall option is missing, so we're gonna have to do without for this go around. But for those of you that don't know, to read over it, 2 mana. When this enchantment enters, and at the beginning of your upkeep, you lose a life and make a clue. Whenever you attack, you put X+1/+1 counters on target attacking creature, where X is the number of permanents you sacrificed this turn. If X is 3 or greater, that creature gains lifelink until the end of the turn. So yeah, it does some pretty interesting things. I don't know that it's quite what you want to be doing when you're playing creativity, but I am open to being wrong and seeing it perform. It does seem like a really neat card.
Yeah, it's a powerful draw engine. It makes tokens. Like, it does kind of the stuff that the deck wants, but we compare it to a card like Bitter Blossom, which has been in Modern for a long time and is not something that Creativity is playing. I do have a hard time seeing it being a go-to option,
Mm-hmm.
but I think it is better than Bitter Blossom. Like being able to
Track
turn
the
those
clues to
clues into
draw if you need
cards
to. Yeah,
is a relevant thing, especially in slower matchups.
for sure, for sure. Now, these players are about ready to get going again, so we're gonna send you back to the battlefield while they resolve mulligans and all that good stuff.
Yeah. So on Johnny's end, I'm expecting to see some graveyard hate. I'm expecting to see some additional removal for Archons if he's got any in his board, or extra copies of Stubborn Denial or other forms of counter magic. For the Creativity player, probably just close to running it back. I don't. Maybe if they have some artifact or enchantment removal in their board, like Wear Tear is pretty good against Zoo. But
Yeah. So no ley line for Johnny notably here. He also opts to fetch out Steam Vents instead of a Triome. What does that tell us?
I'm sure it's just he might not have another fetch land in his hand. That would be my initial guess. I see a Flooded Strand. Oh, it's turn one Ragavan. There we go.
That'd do it.
I thought that was an end of turn fetch, but yes, turn one Ragavan. Obviously really really good, and looks like Mason might have a bolt here.
You gotta bolt the bird.
Push.
Oh, push the bird. Equivalent. I realize it's a monkey, but this monkey makes treasure tokens. That makes it a bird of paradise. Bolt the bird.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, and unfortunately, Johnny doesn't have a follow-up on turn 2. That's going to be pretty tough.
Yeah. Well, and that can be the thing of not having a ley line, that even if Johnny does have the Scion, he can't fetch out the Triome here.
Yeah, I do see a Stubborn Denial in his hand. That can potentially catch a Ren and 6, which I expect is what Mason's going for here. So that'll line up nicely for Johnny, and then it looks like he does have a turn 3 Scion.
He's also got a Flage in hand. Now, I happen to know that Johnny is on the Doorkeeper Throw strategy, so we will see if that works. Now, you're exactly right. Stubborn Denials, this Ren and 6.
So Mason, I'm seeing some Dwarven Mines, a Faithless Looting, and a Fable of the Mirror Breaker.
Johnny can opt for a Surveil as opposed to a Triome to assemble domain. So letting us know that he does not have a Scion in his future.
He does have a Scion in hand, but he might not be prioritizing it right now.
Right. Hence the thought, right? He doesn't have one in his future unless he wants to go get another fetch land and fetch up his Triome. All right. We're going to deploy the planes, and we're just going to go ahead and dash in a Ragavan. I think that's the right choice. So let's go gambling. Lightning Bolt. Do we want to cast it to the life total?
That's a Faithless Looting.
That's a Faithless Looting. We do want to cast that to the life total. Oh, and thank you, Matt. That means the card I told you guys earlier where Mason had a bolt in his hand was actually a Faithless Looting. Too many arts, too many things. Old man yells at clouds.
That's the really famous Faithless Looting art. That's the Strixhaven kind of crazy cut and paste looking one.
You cannot tell me that's the famous one when the classic Faithless Looting exists from, I believe it's Dark Ascension.
Dark Ascension was the original printing.
And that was when I started playing Magic, like seriously, was the Dark Ascension Avacyn Restored block. Amazing block, by the way. That's when I really got into playing, and that Faithless Looting art is unmatched. Yeah, Speaking of Faithless Looting, Mason's going to go loot Faithlessly himself now.
Yeah, they both did here. Johnny notably put 2 Flages into the graveyard with his, so we probably will see a Flage next turn. He's got white in play, so if he's got access to a red mana.
Dork Ascension, wow, I'm being bullied by Twitch chat. This is unbelievable.
I think you deserve it in this case because you should know that Faithless Looting art.
I probably should. I really should.
Oh, there is a...
Are we going to see the thing? No, he passes it back. That's not a persist angle. And that can be really scary for Johnny, because this just means that even though he didn't have the persist now, or even if he did, maybe he opted not to cast it. I don't think he has it in his hands just looking at it. But there's always a world where Mason opted to play around Stubborn Denial there.
Johnny only had
only had white and green. So yeah, there was no plan around it. So
he does have the mountain rolled up for this Flage though. But he's given it a thought. Not sure what his other options are. I think maybe 4 mana Scion.
Well, and you have to think about it, right? Because what happens here is if he doesn't if he does go for the Flage and Mason is just able to go fetch land, Dwarven Mine, Indomitable Creativity, the game like pretty close to wraps up for Johnny. Of course, he has the chance to go top deck a ley line, but it just looks really, really scary for him. And yeah, Johnny's going to opt not to rush into it. Now, because we know Mason's hand, that doesn't look like a great play, but you have to imagine that Johnny is really playing cautious around the resolution of an Indomitable Creativity.
Yeah. So here he is representing a Stubborn Denial that I don't actually think he has, which is honestly a pretty heads up play because it might delay Mason for a turn.
Correct.
But that is a full discount Scion. It does not have any special abilities.
That's what Johnny had to fetch up that Triome for, just to get access to Swamp as the 5th basic land type.
I thought that was a cycling land.
Yeah, those are the ones. Good old.
I don't remember the name of the
I
card.
think that one. So I called it Ndatha, but it's not. That's the one that most people are on. But that's one of the. That's a different one.
No, Johnny's playing Xander's Lounge.
Yeah.
I was talking about Mason. Mason cycled the 1-mana cycling lands.
Oh.
But that's what I thought was in his hand, but I don't remember the name of that card.
Fair.
So Fable for Mason. I imagine we have to see Flage this turn.
All right.
Yeah, Flage enters, and Mason just scoops it up.
Interesting. So I guess Mason did not believe that he was going to be able to find it there, and fair enough.
Forgotten Cave. That's the one. Witness asks, is this Doorkeeper Zoo? Yes, this is Doorkeeper Zoo, and I do agree that I think that's the best version of this deck to be playing.
Yeah. Now, we haven't seen a Doorkeeper yet from Johnny's side, but we did get to see it when he was fetching on the bottom of his library.
Yeah, and notably in this matchup, Doorkeeper Thrall does turn off Archon, and Mason hasn't seen it yet. So that could be a big deal here in game 3 if Johnny sticks like an early threat that Mason hits with Fatal Push, and then the Thrall comes down, and he might not be able to deal with it.
I saw a question in the chat that I completely ignored earlier that I need to double back to, which is how many rounds are left? We do 4 rounds, and this is round 2. Dork Keeper. Yep. Get him, Witness. Roast him. That's, you got to do it. Oh my, I am showing my Scryfall on the right here, which I just have to imagine if I click on Forgotten Cave, it'll populate perfectly in the field. Turns out I could have shown you guys that card, and I just now figured it out. I'm actually pretty surprised to see anybody playing the cards like Forgotten Cave right now. Cycling lands are a really interesting choice, and they can't be fetched out or anything of the sort, so they can always kind of gum up your draws as being tap lands. But sometimes having a land that turns into, well, any other card can be pretty good in the late game.
Yeah, and it's good with Ren and 6. I don't know if it's better than Triome, but it is a cheaper draw, which does sometimes matter. Pretty exciting to get a game 3 here. This is like both of the games, it's kind of felt like one player's taken over a bit, but I'm hoping we can see game 3 maybe a little bit more of a back and forth here. Like if we see Doorkeeper Thrall and resolve a creativity and have to play around Archon attacking, could be some interesting stuff happening.
Agreed. Well, we're going to kick it right back down to the battlefield. Now, I love watching decks like 4-color creativity play because they're just so, looking for the right word here. They are funny. They are very funny. And the reason I say that they're funny is when there's combo decks like Ruby Storm and Neoform that exist, playing a combo deck that has to wait a lot longer to execute its combo is really interesting for me to see. I just think that's so, it's just funny, right? And you can see these decks perform well and legitimately show up. I think that's really neat. Now, I do think a lot of that is about having a plan B, right? Almost every deck needs a really strong plan A and a pretty solid plan B. This Magic is great at making your plan A's not work. So having access to that Archon Persist plan is one of those reasons why, decks like Ruby Storm, Neoform that are really committed to plan A and don't really have a plan B. That's why it can be a little bit slower. But I still love watching it. Still nice to be able to see people execute things at a bit of a slower pace and play what feels like a slightly fairer combo deck.
Yeah, well, and that's what I would say about this creativity deck is the other thing that it is very different than a traditional combo deck is it has the ability to just be a grind you out fair deck that
Mm-hmm.
like you're just playing Fable of the Mirror Breaker, you're playing a bunch of removal spells, you're playing Ren and Six. Like
I mean,
you
come
can
on, he's
just
playing
start
the Jund cards.
you can just start hard casting Archons. Like,
Yeah.
this deck can do that. I think we haven't seen a lot of it. One, just the speed of a deck like Boros Energy
Mm-hmm.
is difficult for something like this to contend with. But then also, right now, the prevalence of Solitude makes Archon of Cruelty
Not quite the win
not,
condition.
yeah. So we'll see, though. Mason is 1-0 here, and he's off to a good start. He's got a Fable. He's got. So I think we'll see the Fable next turn. I know he has a removal spell in hand.
Mm-hmm. Now, Johnny has fetched up a Triome. So, yeah, he fetched up a Triome, and then he opted not to fetch, so we may be seeing a Doorkeeper Thrall here or something of the sort on the end step, holding up that Steam Vents, but I just don't know. My one Twitch chat hot take is that Belcher does what creativity does, but better, said by Witness. Thoughts on that?
They're different decks. I don't know. Like Belcher's interacting on the stack, and it is not. If you're winning with Belcher by attacking with creatures, I don't know what happened in that game, but I guess it's technically possible. I do think Belcher is a better pure combo deck than creativity, but that the difference being creativity has the ability to just cast its spells eventually.
Right, absolutely.
So I think Johnny's just playing a little slow here because he wanted to fetch this Surveil Land. He has a Consign in hand. He's got a couple removal spells. I think he also has like 2 bolts Celestial Purge. Like he has a very reactive hand.
Right.
I'm interested to see how this plays out because I think of the Domain deck as being the aggressor in a matchup like this, and so not having any early threats is interesting, but his reactive hand is very strong. So it's just going to be a question of can he keep Mason off of his combo?
Right. And using bolts to clean up little tokens like that goblin is really good. I mean, that's just what you have to do. You can't let these tokens stick around. Something else you can also do if it lines up well with your plays is you can actually bolt in response to an Indomitable Creativity or something like that. So you don't have to fire them off early, but Johnny is looking at yet another bolt. So totally reasonable to run that one out. Now, what Johnny's going to do here, I believe he's going to fetch Shaka Steam Vents. He's going to deploy the Territorial Kavu in hand, and then get the option to hold up a few other cards. He's got a Consign, he's got a Lightning Bolt, and no doubt he wants Mason to believe he has a Stubborn Denial. But yeah, there's the Kavu. Now, I fully agree with your thought process there, Matt, that I think Domain needs to be the aggressor. On the Doorkeeper Thrall strategy, you do have a little bit more ability to play into the kind of brokenness of Null Drifter that doesn't die to Evoke, and things like that that may be extra strong. Kavu is going to get pushed. It is a 2-mana creature.
Yep. And that was with the Fable trigger on the stack, which I really like from Mason. So I do want to give some kudos to Mason here. I've been watching him play this creativity deck, and he has been playing very well. He's very careful around sequencing around things that Johnny might have, and has put himself in a pretty strong position here. So now we're going to see second Fable. Johnny is thinking about consigning away that goblin or bolting away that goblin.
Well, and this is the part that gets really awkward for Johnny is those Fables start flipping into creatures that can be
right.
They can do their own thing. Now, if I'm Johnny, what I would want to do would be on Mason's main phase when both of those fables have triggered. I'm going to consign both of them at the same time. Now that, of course, assumes I have 4 mana, because if not, then I'm just going to consign the one that turns into a creature because I need a Scion on the table to start going to face.
Well, and I think Johnny is holding that consign right now for an Archon trigger, and notably, Mason does have Persist and Archon in hand.
Yeah.
So he could put an Archon into play.
Faithless Looting could be the card.
Well, Fable trigger. He already has it.
Oh, you're right. He does. He does. So he's going to opt for Ragavan. Let's see if he wants to do that consign play or not.
He might here. He did leave 2 mana up.
He says, trigger, trigger. Johnny doesn't jump in and stop him. So Mason takes the opportunity to put an Archon in the bin.
And then Fable flips, but Johnny does have the consign for that Archon trigger. It's not great, but it's something.
But this part's just really scary because Mason now has the Indomitable Creativity in hand with a target and the Archon, or the Persist in hand with a target. So there's just a lot that does not feel great here. Because even though he's consigned this, and now undoubtedly will leyline it, or I guess he can purge it as well if you'd like. Oh, that's brutal.
Yeah, Ren in 6 against Ragavan is tough.
Right.
Okay, yeah, so we do hit the ley line, and this creativity next turn is going to be really good. Yeah, they're just confirming that Johnny did have the right colors of mana, and he did.
Yeah. That is one thing that's really easy to get sloppy about. Yeah, it's just easy to get sloppy playing domain because you get really used to leyline giving you all your colors and you kind of fetch out your colors, then you forget you have to tap right. But Johnny's in a really just super awkward spot now. He wants to clean up this Ren in 6 with this Ragavan. He's going to choose to purge it instead. He's going to put the Ragavan on the table.
He's about to get his doors blown off by this creativity.
Yes, but it just puts Johnny in such a rough spot where Johnny has to find an answer somehow.
Yeah, just untap land, cast creativity, or just creativity for 1 here is honestly probably good enough.
Yeah, I think creativity for 1 is the answer. Yep, we're going to do it. We're going to eat the Summoning Sick. What's extra crazy as well is if Mason finds a land on the draw of this Archon, he can immediately use that land to start making reflections of Kiki Jiki copy Archon, and that just spells game over.
Yep.
Super fast. So
there's the card. Yeah.
It's a land. Yep. It was the land.
Game's over. Johnny's dead. This is 12 damage.
Archon doesn't have haste.
The Fable one gives it haste.
The Fable one does, right? But not the one on the table. So the Fable one. ETB. You're right. ETB in both. Wow. All right. There we go. That is game. So they're going to pack it up. Let's send it back to the booth. So what a game we just got to witness. Mason executed that 4-color creativity plan flawlessly. I mean, that was a really clean play of a deck that doesn't really see much time in the meta right now. So I have to assume Mason's been playing that a lot, but regardless, masterful piloting there.
Mm-hmm. I hope he wins next round. We can see him at round 4. Because honestly, yeah, he played really well, and that deck we don't get to see very much anymore. So I'd love to see it again if it lines up.
Absolutely. All right, guys, do not go anywhere. We will be right back for round 3. We're going to kick you over to some music and do a bumper video for just a little bit, but then we will be back with some of our folks. Very likely, if Kevin's gone 0-2, we're going to save him the trouble of being on camera. But if he's 1-1, we'll put him on camera and let you guys see how his deck performs, and hopefully it's a little bit more ideal than his round 1. So with that, don't go anywhere. We will be back shortly. Thank you guys greatly.